Well, good morning, American patriots. Welcome to the 336th consecutive Friday Assembly of the East Valley Red Friday Patriots. Believe me, your presence here is greatly appreciated, and we thank you for your support. You are truly great patriots, supporting a very, very important mission, and for that, you are admired. You know, for you veterans, at some point in your military career, you may have been deployed abroad, and I ask that you reflect on a few uplifting moments during that deployment. A letter, a postcard from home, maybe an infrequent phone call to a loved one, receiving a much appreciated care package, the announcement of the birth of your child, the rare kindness of a total stranger, or if you were really lucky, maybe a leave of absence for a little R&R and possibility of the opportunity to meet up with a loved one. Well, speaking of kindness, I recall when, as a private first class E3, soon to be demoted to a private E2, on deployment to Germany in 1963 as part of Operation Big Lift, I, along with another PFC, were assigned guard duty in the bowels of the Black Forest in southwestern Germany. And we were positioned at the intersection of two dirt roads to ensure that any wheel or tracked vehicle would not be allowed to enter our unit's bivouac area without a ground guide. Now, it was cold. It was miserable, and although it was mid-afternoon, it was dark because of the very dense canopy of the conifer trees that blocked out the sunlight, making the forest appear really dark and somewhat mysterious, even during daylight hours. Well, soon after being stationed at the intersection by the sergeant of the guard, this young German man came riding down on a bicycle, and I stopped him. And I did my best to communicate that I wanted a loaf of German rye black bread. I think that is referred to as Schwarzbrot. Is that correct? And I wanted 2 flip-top bottles of German beer. Now, he didn't speak English, and I certainly didn't speak German. Our communications was more of hand gestures than anything else, and I gave him 5 $1 bills. Quite frankly, I never expected to see that young man again. And my fellow sentry thought I was crazy to remotely think that the man would return. And I said, what the hell, it's only money. An hour and a half later, we heard a bicycle rumbling down the dirt road headed in our direction. And to our amazement, up rides this young man with a warm loaf of German black bread and 2 still cool flip-top bottles of German dark beer wrapped and stored away in the bicycle's handlebar basket. My sentry buddy just shook his head in total disbelief. The young man had ridden to a nearby village to acquire the goods. He reached in the basket and he carefully handed me us much wanted and much awaited treats. And I reached out to shake his hand, and he reached in his pocket and he handed me 3 $1 bills from the original $5, which I simply could not accept. And once he left, we chomped down on that pokey bait like nobody's business. One of the best and most memorable treats I've ever had in my life. All made possible by the kindness of a total stranger, an unusual morale booster, although totally against Army regulations. So, each of those memorable experiences while deployed, although brief, were uplifting, and they were much needed morale boosters, important for mental well-being. They were as important for our troops back then as they are today. As is the comfort in knowing that your fellow countrymen are supportive of their troops and their missions, not just by word, but by deed. That said, I want to provide an update on the Apache Trail Chapter, National Society Daughters of the American Revolution, Project Patriot. This was the recent DAR-sponsored project to provide care packages for Arizona National Guard troops currently deployed to Germany. Those care packages are now on their way. Thanks in part to this Red Friday group's generosity, there were enough supplies to fill 20 care packages, which were shipped last Friday, 31 October. And each box contained an individual note and pictures of our R.E.D group and our Apache Trail Chapter DAR members who frequently attend this Red Friday meeting. And this Red Friday Patriots group donated $841 cash for the project. And of those funds, $121 was spent on women's items, $300 from Red Friday donations, plus $300 from the DAR Project Patriot Committee budget was used for the actual shipping costs, leaving $420 to be used to purchase water and goodies for the Arizona National Guard and the United Service Organization, USO, out at Sky Harbor Airport. The Apache Trail Chapter of Daughters of the American Revolution wants to thank this Red Friday group for championing this project. No doubt, once those boxes arrive, there will be many elated soldiers who will know that this Red Friday Patriots group and Daughters of the American Revolution Apache Trail Chapter are fully supportive of their mission and extend our hope for a safe return home. So to each of you, contributed to the project by donating care packages, items, or cash, thank you. Did you folks enjoy that array of donuts that were brought in this morning? Well, those sweet treats were courtesy of the Apache Trails Chapter National Society Daughters of the American Revolution. Will all the daughters please stand? May I have a hoo-ah for these fine ladies? Hoo-ah! Thank you, ladies. We do appreciate it. Hank, did you save me one? Day late and $1 short. Deb Wynn, is Deb here today? No? Deb Wynn, Deb and Tom. Deb is not here? They're not here today. Well, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. You know, I was talking to Deb here a while back, and she's a United States Navy veteran who served during the Vietnam War era. And I was visiting with Deb and her husband Tom just a couple of weeks ago, and Deb was telling me that she had always thought of herself as a pretty good saleswoman. And she said she believes that her civilian sales success was as a result of her military service. And she said it all started early in her Navy career. See, just as the Vietnam War was starting to really heat up, Deb's task unit commander assigned her to the task group's recruiting team, and he thought Deb was a smooth talker. So the first assignment she was given was at a military induction center at Recruit Training Command Naval Station, Great Lakes, Illinois, and the team's leading recruiter, a chief petty officer, assigned Deb the duty of advising new recruits about government benefits, and especially as it pertains to the service members' group life insurance, which the recruits were entitled to. Well, soon after Deb started in her new assignment, an 03 lieutenant who was in charge of Deb's recruiting team noticed that Deb was getting a 99% sign-up rate for the rather expensive supplemental form of the GI life insurance. 99%. Well, Deb's sign-up rate was really unprecedented because it cost these low-income recruits $25 a month for the higher coverage. And compared to what the government was providing at no charge, that was a pretty hefty price to pay. So the lieutenant decided he'd sit in the back of the room at Deb's next briefing, and he had listened to her sales pitch. Well, Deb stood up before the new group of inductees and said, "Listen up, recruits, because what I'm about to say is important. As new inductees to the United States Navy, each of you are provided with a GI life insurance policy at no charge, courtesy of Uncle Sam. Now, if you have the normal GI insurance and you're deployed to Vietnam and you get yourself killed, the government pays your beneficiary $20,000. But if you take out the supplemental insurance, which costs you only $25 a month, then the government has to pay your beneficiaries $200,000. And then Deb said, "Now, which bunch do you think they're going to send to Vietnam first?" That was pure genius. You know, this morning I take pleasure in introducing our guest speaker, a career United States Marine who has experienced a quite diverse military career and continues to proudly represent the United States Marine Corps in retirement. Master Gunnery Sergeant Marvin De Leon Guerrero, a native of the Northern Marianas Island, enlisted in the Marine Corps in 1987, immediately following high school graduation. And upon completion of boot camp at Marine Corps Recruit Depot San Diego, he reported to Petroleum Supply Specialist School at Fort Lee, Virginia, and upon graduating was assigned to 9th Engineer Support Battalion, Okinawa, Japan, where he served as a petroleum supply specialist pump operator. 1989, he was transferred to Marine Wing Support Squadron 273, Beaufort, South Carolina, where he was assigned to the Station Fuel Section, Fleet Assistant Program. 1990, Corporal Guerrero was selected for Marine Security Guard School, Quantico, Virginia, and upon graduation was assigned to the American Embassy, Cairo, Egypt, for his first post and assumed the duties of mess non-commissioned officer. Then on to the American Consulate, Sao Paulo, Brazil, where he served as Detachment Training NCO. In 1992, Sergeant Guerrero returned to the U.S. and joined 7th Engineer Support Battalion in Camp Pendleton, California, where he served as Platoon Sergeant for 2nd Platoon, 1st Bulk Fuel Company. 1995, he received orders to drill instructor school, San Diego, California, and was assigned to India Company, 3rd Recruit Training Battalion, and Recruit Receiving and Processing Section. 1998, Sergeant Guerrero requested a lateral move to the Military Occupational Specialty Logistics Embarkation Specialist and was selected to attend the NCO, Senior NCO Embarkation School in Little Creek, Virginia. Upon completion of Embarkation School, he transferred to Aviation Ground Support Element at 29 Palms, California, and assumed the duties as a Unit Embark Chief. 1988, Sergeant Guerrero was promoted to Staff Sergeant, transferred to 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines, where he served as the Battalion Supply and Logistics S4 Chief. Deployed to Camp Schwab, Okinawa, Japan. Year 2000, he received orders transferring him back to the 7th Engineer Support Battalion, and as the Embark Chief, he embarked the battalion aboard USS Ogden and USS Anchorage for deployment to San Clemente Island to conduct repairs on training ranges and roadways. 2001, he was transferred to 1st Force Service Support Group, G3 Operations, for assignment as the Assistant Operations Chief, and in 2002, he was promoted to Gunnery Sergeant and deployed with the 1st Force Service Support Group Command Element to Operation Iraqi Freedom. It was here where he served as Command Operations Center Night Watch Chief aboard Camp Iwo Jima, Kuwait. 2004, Gunnery Sergeant Guerrero transferred to Marine Corps Air Station Camp Pendleton, California, for duties as the Station S4 Supply and Logistics Chief. And in 2005, Gunnery Sergeant Guerrero received orders to Headquarters Battalion, 1st Marine Division, G4, and served as Blue Diamond G4 Operations Chief for 1st Marine Division. Blue Diamond is a nickname for the United States Marine Corps' 1st Marine Division and its associated personnel. Following year, 2006, Gunnery Sergeant Guerrero was promoted to Master Sergeant, followed by a 2008 deployment to Combat Outpost South, Al-Qaim, Iraq, as the Senior Enlisted Advisor for Military Transition Team 733. In 2009, Master Sergeant Guerrero was ordered to Pascagoula, Mississippi, to assume duties as Senior Combat Cargo Assistant aboard USS Mankin Island, and this tour was highlighted by assisting in the christening and commissioning of the USS Mankin Island. In 2011, Master Sergeant De Leon Guerrero was promoted to Master Gunnery Sergeant, and he returned to Okinawa, Japan, where he assumed duties as Regimental Operations Chief, Combat Logistics Regiment 3, 3rd Marine Logistics Group. During his tour with Combat Logistics Regiment 3, he participated in the humanitarian and disaster relief efforts supporting the 2011 Thailand floods and Operation Damien in the Republic of the Philippines in 2013. Additionally, he deployed to Thailand in support of Joint Exercise Cobra Gold in both 2012 and 2013, and Iwo Jima for the 67th reunion of honor commemoration. In 2014, Master Gunnery Sergeant Guerrero transferred to Marine Wing Headquarters Squadron 1, 1st Marine Aircraft Wing, and assumed his current billet as 1st Marine Aircraft Wing G4 Supply and Logistics Chief. Master Gunnery Sergeant De Leon Guerrero retired from the United States Marine Corps in June 2017 after 30 years of honorable and faithful service. He earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Criminal Justice Administration and a Master's degree in Public Administration from National University. As of 2019, Master Gunnery Sergeant retired De Leon Guerrero has served as an instructor with the Naval Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps in Apache Junction High School, with a mission to instill in students in secondary education institution the values of citizenship, service to the United States, personal responsibility, and a sense of accomplishment. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Master Gunnery Sergeant retired Norvin De Leon Guerrero.
Good morning, and thank you for that awesome. I'm humbled. I shouldn't be here. I'm the youngest one in here, so I've learned from all you guys. So thank you for having me. So Patriots, thank you. All right, so here to talk about, the Marine Corps. Marine Corps birthday is coming up, 250 years. All right, come Monday. All right, so a little bit overview of the history of our Corps. Okay. All right. Through every conflict, every community, the history of our Corps tells the triumph of our nation. Since November 10, 1775, ours is a legacy having each other's back and never backing down. On legendary battlefields like Guadalcanal, Chosin Reservoir, and Marja in defense of our national interests. Then and now, every Marine is a United States Marine, fighting through every circumstances to continue our nation's advance. Okay. On this picture here, November 10, 1775, the Corps is born in Tun Tavern, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Yes, Tun Tavern is a bar, so Marines love their choice of beverage to start off, so that's good. All right, and then it was led by Captain Samuel Nicholas sets up the first Marine Corps recruiting headquarters in Tun Tavern, PA, looking for a few good men. The few and the proud who make up today's ranks are comprised of men and women who have the resolve to fight and win our nation's common cause. Currently, there's approximately 168,000 active duty Marines, 32,000 reservists, totaling 201,000. And of that numbers I just provided, there's probably 20,000 female Marines joining our ranks. In 1776, first amphibious raid by the Marines was at Fort Nassau. This is where 5 companies of Marines, approximately 230, 250 Continental Marines, and 50 sailors carry out the Corps' first amphibious landing on foreign soil in the Bahamas, successfully seizing stockpiles of British gunpowder and munitions and securing it for General Washington's army. This mission was led by Captain Samuel Nichols. This was the first amphibious raid in the history of the United States Marine Corps and a key moment for the Continental Navy. It marked one of the first combined Navy-Marine Corps operations in U.S. history. It also marked the first time the American flag was flown over a foreign stronghold. 1805, the Leathernecks arrived in the Battle of Derna, okay? The Marines rescued, in this battle, the Marines rescued the kidnapped crew of the USS Philadelphia on the shores of Tripoli. That's North Africa and Libya. They received the nickname Leathernecks due to the high collar they wore as protection against the sabers of the pirates. That's how we got this kind of uniform here, albeit it looks good, but it's very uncomfortable. The battle, a key event in the First Barbary Wars, involved a force led by Lieutenant Presley O'Bannon that marched across the desert to capture the city of Derna in Libya, marking the first time the U.S. flag was raised in victory in foreign soil. The victory helped Americans trade routes and protect ships from the Barbary Wars. This event also immortalized the lines of the Marines' hymn, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. We fight our country's battles in the air, on land, and sea. That's just the first verse. There's 2 other verses for that. And every Marine Corps birthday, we celebrate, we party hard, and we sing it loud. All right, 1918, the ferocity of the Devil Dogs, Battle of Belleau Wood. Here, Marine forces launched a last-ditch close combat assault against German soldiers and completely shred the defensive counterattack. Surviving German soldiers nicknamed their adversaries Devil Dogs. Due to their relentless fighting spirit, it became a defining moment for the Marine Corps and marked America's large-scale land combat in World War I. The Battle of Belleau Wood resulted in a total of approximately 18,000 to 19,000 casualties on both sides. The United States sustained about 9,700 casualties, with 1,800 killed and 7,900 wounded. German casualties are estimated at around 9,500, including 1,600 prisoners of war, and an unknown number killed and wounded. So Devil Dogs, Leathernecks are just another name for Marines, and also Jarheads. Okay, so Jarheads, I guess, due to Marines, we get active duty, you get a haircut once a week. During my time, once a week. So that's another nickname for Marines, is Devil Dog, Leathernecks, and Jarheads, due to their high and tight once a week cut that we had to get. 1942, innovative air-ground team at the Battle of Guadalcanal. During this battle, several innovative tactical strategies were used by the Marines to capture the Japanese airfield, including intense close air support for Marine ground forces. From the father of marine aviation, Alfred Cunningham, the only excuse for aviation in any service is its usefulness in assisting the troops on the ground. It is also a significant victory for the Allies, marking the first time Japan was put on the defensive and shifting the momentum of the war in the Pacific. U.S. victory was a major strategic and psychological turning point in the Pacific. So like Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major Nations mentioned, I was born and raised in Saipan, Mariana Islands, 18 years, and I joined the gun club when I graduated. But during World War II, too, the island south of Saipan is Tinian. Tinian during World War II was the largest airstrip during the Pacific War. It is also the airstrip that the Enola Gay took off and dropped the bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Right now, Tinian is continuing to grow. The airstrip there is being refurbished, maintained for the Marines that are on Guam for them to train on. The Marines on Guam came from Okinawa. So that's just how we are continuing to grow globally. 1945, symbolic victory in the face of tremendous odds, Battle of Iwo Jima. The picture shows the flag raising at Mount Suribachi on February 23, 1945 was a vital moment at the Battle of Iwo Jima, propelling the U.S. to victory on the tiny volcanic islands 3 weeks later. Today, this symbol serves as a permanent reminder of the fighting spirit found in our Marines and the resiliency shared by our entire nation. Uncommon valor was a common virtue. The battle was also one of the bloodiest in Marine Corps history. Approximately 26,000 American casualties with around 6,800 killed in action, and roughly 22,000 Japanese soldiers killed in action. The battle itself took approximately 36 days. I had the honor and privilege of doing an event called the Reunion of Honor. The Reunion of Honor, we were tasked to do the Reunion of Honor to receive WW2 veterans and their families when they fly into Okinawa, as you were to Iwo Jima. So we had a ship assigned to us, loaded up LCACs, loaded up government vans, white vans on the ship, took it up to Iwo Jima, and then once the WW2 veterans got on the island, we transported all the veterans and their families to the beaches of Iwo Jima and up to Mount Suribachi, where the actual flag raising was raised. It's no longer called Iwo Jima. It's actually called Iwoto now. And one thing that really stood out when we were doing that event, that logistics support, is the Japanese didn't want us there. They didn't want to be reminded of the defeat. They say any casualties that may happen, whether it be medical, you need fuel for your vans, whatever it is, you're on your own. So that really stood out. They also did not allow us to do the flag raising up at Suribachi. That was one of their rules before so we couldn't do it. So how we took pictures, we just held the flags normally, properly, but we couldn't do the flag raising scenario. Okay. And then touring the island as well, I mean, it's a volcanic island. You could smell the sulfur just spewing from the earth there. And there was a lot of tunnels in Iwo Jima. It was very surprising. Not all the veterans, W2 veterans, they were pretty old at that time, but all they wanted to go is up Mount Suribachi and down to the black sands of the beach right there. (1950), a bitter winter battle. Chosin Reservoir, outnumbered 8-1 and cut off from air support, the 1st Marine Division battled and defeated 10 Chinese infantry division through snow at negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit temperatures and dangerous terrain to rejoin American forces. The site, one of the most brutal battles between UN and Chinese Communist forces during the Korean War. The battle is significant for shifting the momentum of the war and is remembered for the incredible resilience of the UN troops who fought against the enemy and the extreme cold. Negative 40 degrees. Wow. I've done cold weather training up at Bridgeport, California, and that's probably just not as cold for sure. But during the training, at one time on our marches, they instructed us on our canteens. We had canteens back then. Now, service members have camelbacks. So they instructed us when we put our canteens on our cartridge belt, do it upside down so that your body heat melts the top portion of your canteen, so when it's time to rest, you could open your canteen, and then now you have a couple of tablespoons of water to sip on. So, but I don't think it was negative 40 degrees. And that's the first time, too, I tried hot Kool-Aid. Oh, that's not fun. But you got used to it because it was cold. (1968) elite street fighting Battle of Hue. Lasting 33 days, the Battle of Hue was an intense, unrelenting ground battle that deployed block by block street fighting strategies, hammering back defensive forces and allowing Marines to secure the city. It was a decisive military victory for the U.S. and South Vietnamese forces, who eventually retook the city after nearly a month of intense fighting. However, the outcome was devastating for the city of Hue, which was largely destroyed during that battle. And for all the veterans out there, Vietnam veterans, thank you for your service. Thank you, because you guys paved the way. And I know my era, we had parades. And you guys, Vietnam veterans, should have had your parade as well. And it's very sad that it did not happen. Just pisses me off. All right. Within 2 months, the attacks of September 11, 2001, Marines were the first major ground forces in Afghanistan, focused on defeating al-Qaeda. By mid-December, Marine forces had captured Kandahar Airport, creating one of the first coalition command centers. The armed conflict lasted from 2000 to 2021. 2003 to 2011, door-to-door expositions, Iraqi war. Using street-level tactics first deployed during Vietnam, Marines, metropolitan areas like Fallujah, breach search, and cleared areas building by building to root out insurgents. Present day, a certain force for an uncertain world. The Marine Corps will be the force of choice for the President, Secretary of Defense, the combatant commander. No matter what the crisis, our leaders should always have one shared thought: send in the Marines. Quote by General Berger, 38th Commandant of the Marine Corps. So, right now, present day, we got a lot of people deployed. We got to remember them. Thank you for all the care packages. We also get care packages. They always like come to the school and let us know, do you guys know veterans? How can we send veterans packages to all these units deployed? So we try to help them out best we can, but I know you guys here do it often, and thank you for that. Okay, so that concludes the overview of the Corps, but come Monday, 10 November, 250th birthday of the Marine Corps, for all the former Marines in here, there's always a cake cutting. Yes, cake cutting ceremony. Cake cutting ceremony happens. The recognition of the oldest Marine present and the recognition of the youngest Marine present is always. I had the honor of being the oldest Marine present too in one of my last units. I wasn't the oldest, but the Sergeant Major and the CEO didn't want to be recognized as being the oldest, so I was in line. But yeah, but it's now I could say been there, done that, got the T-shirt, so that was fun. So they always read the General Lejeun's message, and basically, if you're a Marine, the whole month of November is a holiday, because you got Marine Corps birthday, Veterans Day, and Thanksgiving, and then depending on where you're at, some units, because of venue availability, you start at late October, and just operational commitments, you just don't know if you're going to be stateside or forward deployed for you to conduct your balls. One of the best balls, Marine Corps balls that I've attended, was when I was in São Paulo, Brazil. São Paulo, Brazil. Now, we were just a 5-man team in São Paulo, Brazil, guarding the consulate there. And we had, it was at a 5-star hotel. Okay, so we had rooms there, and then, here in the United States, they see the uniform and they say they've seen it in commercials, in magazines, but just amplify that at a third world country. For this instance, I was in São Paulo. We were at a hotel. Our team were coming down from our rooms. We're in the elevator, glass elevator. So all eyes were on us. So that's pretty. Made me feel like, okay. But the balls there are really, really nice. The Marine Corps balls at embassies and consulates, way better. Because it's your show, whereas if you got an infantry battalion, it's like 1,000 Marines, and okay, everyone's wearing dress blue, so they're all the same. Okay, so Marine Corps birthday, 250 years, okay. All right, that's, any questions, comments, or concerns?
Master Gunny, you had something that you wanted to relay to us relevant to the program that you're involved with?
Yes. So we started a chapter at Apache Junction High School, ROTC, called the Imprints of Honor. And I have flyers up here if you're interested. So Imprints of Honor is we interview veterans. It doesn't have to be combat veterans. It could be a veteran that served 2 years, 4 years, 40 years. So we interview the veteran, we write his story or her story. Final editing gets done by the veteran. And then it gets published. The hard book gets provided to the veteran and the interviewer itself. And then a hard book gets sent to the Library of Congress. So right here, I'll have flyers if you are interested of getting your story told and written. Okay, it's right there. My card is there as well. Reach out, and if you have other veterans that we want their stories told, by all means. Now, this is our first time. Mr. Field was interviewed. Mr. Overmeyer got interviewed. So before December 8th is our final cutoff for Imprints of Honor editing team to receive those stuff. But if anyone is interested, more than welcome, grab a flyer, grab a card, and then reach out, and then we'll set up a date and time on when and where we could interview you. We prefer the veteran to come to Apache Junction High School in our classrooms because we have to be present. And then everything is set up, you just answer the question. So that's Imprints of Honor. We started it this year, and then, like I mentioned, it cutoff is December 8th, but come next school year, June, July, we're going to start up another season of Imprints of Honor. Okay, so it's right up here if anyone is interested.
Master Gunn, join me over here for one moment. We'd like to take this opportunity to present you with this certificate of appreciation, recognizing and commending Master Gunnery Sergeant Norvin De Leon Guerrero for his honorable military service, veteran support initiatives, and support of the East Valley Red Friday Patriots. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, sir.
Also, I have a couple of items here that I'm not going to pin those to that uniform, but I know that on your civilian attire, this might be something that you take pride in wearing. This is our Red Friday Patriots lapel pin, and we wear this with a great deal of pride here, and we hope that you'll display this as the occasion presents itself. And furthermore, I'd like to present you with this 250th United States Marine Corps anniversary lapel pin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you,
May I have a hoorah for this gentleman?
All right.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
for your service. Appreciate you, my friend. Next Tuesday, November 11, America will celebrate Veterans Day, one of the most important holidays of the year. It's a day that draws attention to those men and women who at some time in their lives donned the cloth of this great nation and served in its defense. Let's take a moment and listen to a production written by Andrea Brett and narrated by Dale Henry Brown, titled, I Am a Veteran. You know, I'd like each of you to take a moment, look around you, look at all the veterans assembled here, look at all the patriots present who admire and fully appreciate our veteran community and their contribution to the defense of our country. Doesn't it feel good to know that you're surrounded by men and women who love this country and who love those who have served in the defense of America? I know it makes me feel proud to be an American. You know, this day gives us all a precious opportunity to reflect on what it means to be a patriot, to reflect on what it means to be a nation trusted in our military, to know what it means to be a nation tested by war, and to reflect on both the cost and the blessings of liberty. Since General George Washington commanded the Continental Army, over 40 million Americans have served in our nation's armed forces, and well over 1 million have given their lives in its defense. Now, there can be no doubt that America's fighting men and women have given much to ensure that our great nation stays free. We owe a debt of gratitude to all those who have served, to all those who were injured, to those yet to be accounted for, and especially to all those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Think back to that night of September 11, 2001, when President George Bush addressed the nation. He said, America was targeted for attack because we are the brightest beacon for freedom and opportunity in the world, and no one will keep that light from shining. And today, 243,000 members of our armed forces and DoD personnel are deployed around the world at sea, in the air, on land, to protect our national interests and ensure America is a beacon of light, and it continues to shine even to the farthest and darkest regions of the globe. Thankfully, our nation has always been blessed to have strong men and women who with exceptional courage, people willing and able to stand in the gap and defend America whenever Lady Liberty is tested. And they've answered that loud and clear call to defend our nation time and time and time again on every front and every battle. From our war for independence more than 249 years ago, to World War I, to Pearl Harbor, World War II, to Korea, Vietnam, to 9/11, and our recently concluded fight in Afghanistan, to Iraq, to the ongoing battles against terror, and every war in between. America's brave men and women have willfully come forward to stand in the gap and engage our enemies, even to the ends of the earth. And we're still at it today. There are those of you here today who have answered the call and experienced the perils of battle. For 249 years, the men and women of our nation have stepped forward to serve in our armed forces and defend our freedoms. They've risked their lives for the land, for the people, and for the ideals that we cherish. Our battles, our victories, indeed, our way of life are owed not for great moments or important dates. They are owed to the actions and sacrifices of those men and women who were willing to advance through unthinkable barriers for their country and for the cause of freedom. America is the country she is today because of our heroes, past and present. People who put the nation's best interest above self-interest, who put patriotism above profit, and who put love of country above love of oneself. They're referred to as veterans. And I believe the history of our nation and those who serve can be summed up in a short and simple fitting phrase. Our beloved veterans are extraordinary people who, by virtue of their service and sacrifice, are extraordinary. Today, more than ever, America needs men and women who are willing to forego strolling down Easy Street, forego the what can the country do for me mentality, and forgo living the good life without any personal sacrifice, but to wear instead the cloth of this nation, to travel instead along uncertain roads swarming with peril, to live instead a life on the ragged edge of danger, to live lives that matter. Our veterans made that conscious decision to live a life of sacrifice and service for the greater cause and for America. That has made all the difference. And while they each walked a different road, they all faced challenges, and they've proven themselves well equipped to meet those challenges. President Ronald Reagan once said, "When life gets tough and the crisis is undeniably at hand, we will find nothing inside ourselves that we have not already put there." Think about that. The character inside each and every one of our veterans isn't just transferred into the fabric of their being the moment it's needed. It can't be emailed into the hard drives of their spirits or souls and then installed as needed. Character is woven within each of us over a lifetime of processes that begins in our homes, continues through boot camp, matures through our interactions and experiences in the service and throughout our civilian life. Growing up, all of us learned these things from those who influenced us. Parents, grandparents, teachers, any number of mentors who helped us along the way as we became the person we are now. Our veterans come from all across America, representing the diversity and character of our great nation. And our military is stronger for it. They're leaders and volunteers, both inside and outside of the service. They're role models for our citizens. They want to achieve and they want to win. Their fighting spirit is the backbone of this great nation. They exemplify the high standards of service at home and abroad, at sea and ashore, in combat and in times of peace. Today, our United States military is second to none. Be assured of that. We have the most advanced ground and space technologies, warships, submarines, aircraft in the world. But the best equipment means little if you don't have the hard-working, highly trained, and dedicated workforce to bring those platforms to life. Our nation's brave men and women, the fearless souls who have chosen the warrior's way, are the cherished lifeblood that fuels the heart of the greatest nation on earth. And of course, my tribute would simply not be complete if I didn't recognize the families of those who serve or have served our military. The families of our military. They also sacrifice so very much for our nation. Mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, wives, husbands, daughters, sons, close friends, loved ones. For military families, theirs has never been an easy burden. So as we thank those who have served and currently serve, let's also remember our heroes on the home front. Our nation's military forces simply could not carry out their duties without the critical support their families and loved ones provide each and every day. To those spouses and families that at some time in your lives have held down the home front while your loved one served, we salute you today. You know, our nation continues to draw her strength from those who have served in the past and those who are serving today. And our nation will continue to draw strength from those who will serve tomorrow. It's an unbroken chain linking Americans generation to generation, keeping that scale of freedom tipping in America's favor. Our strength as a nation also comes from loyal citizens like each of you here today. Americans who are aware of the challenges, aware of the opportunities, and aware of the growing dangers we face. Those who currently serve are grateful for patriots like you, who support them, who support their families when they are deployed, who help make them what they are today. The world's greatest force for stability and peace on the face of the earth, and they are grateful for all that you do. No one should doubt that a strong United States military will continue to stand a global watch for generations to come, as the legacy and the lessons of previous wars are passed to our children and our children's children, who will also stand the watch to continue the fight against oppression, against injustice, and against those who seek to strip us of our freedom. This morning, we have the opportunity and privilege of celebrating the men and women of this great country who have, at some point in their lives, donned the cloth of our nation and stood steadfast in the ranks of fellow soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, guardians, space guardians, and Coast Guardsmen. They are the veterans of our armed forces who have selflessly dedicated a portion of their lives to defending American ideals and ensuring not only America's freedom, but that of America's allies. I would ask that those of you who have served in the United States Army, please stand. May I have a hoo-ah for these soldiers? Hoo-ah. Gentlemen, thank you for your service. And ladies, I'm sorry. United States Marine Corps, please stand. May I have a hoorah for these Marines? Hoorah! Thank you for your service. How about United States Navy? Please stand. May I have a hoo-yah for our Navy vets? Hoo-yah! Thank you. How about United States Air Force? Please stand. Can I have a hoo-yah for our Air Force vets? Hoo-yah! And U.S. Coast Guard. Do we have any Coast Guardsmen here today? Not today? Well, I still think that we should give our Coast Guardsmen a yell out with a real strong hoo-yah. Hoo-yah! And to the spouses and family members of these veterans, please stand. May I have a hoo-ah for these family members and spouses? Thank you. And to all those who have dedicated your heartfelt support for our veteran community, thank you. To each of you veterans here today, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for your honorable service to our great nation. You truly are our national treasure. Thank you for your service. I'd like to conclude our program with a couple of announcements. First of all, Karen Confederac has, and our DAR group have been promoting the 100X program, which were online surveys of a host of different types of businesses across the country, for which we help generate some funding for DAR, and some of those funds come right back here to support our Red Friday program. So it's a win-win situation for all. But I think that you have a summary of the results.
Yes, I do. And from the bottom of our DAR hearts, we thank you so much. 14 participants from Red Friday joined our 100X campaign, and you raised $1,048.80 for our chapter. So thank you very much. Master Gunny Sergeant, would you like to do the drawing for our prize? This is for anybody who completed 25, 50, or 75 surveys in our campaign. And this beautiful gift basket from Paladinos goes to Dancy Fassbender.
All right. Somebody take that mic away from that woman.
That's fine.
That's going to be a good bread-breaking party, Nancy. Thank you to our DAR group for delivering on such a wonderful gift there. I'm sure Nancy will be most appreciative. Just as a reminder, we're still looking for volunteers for participating in the All-American Veterans Parade here in Apache Junction next Tuesday morning. If you have not already signed up, please come here after the meeting and give me your name so that I can get an instruction memo out to you for that particular event. By the way, we have thus far about 22 participants this year, and I think that there have been 2 others that have indicated today that they wanted to join us, so it'll be a pretty good showing. Also, another reminder that we have numerous guest speakers scheduled for the remainder of this year. So please plan to attend, support those speakers. We have speakers scheduled for next week, November 14, November 21, December 5, and December 19. So please put those on your calendars and join us. Also, speaking of upcoming assemblies, Friday, November 14, next Friday, our Red Friday group and the Daughters of the American Revolution group will sponsor a 250th birthday celebration for Army, Marines, and Navy. We've scheduled a guest speaker. There will be cake cutting ceremonies for each branch of service. And we have issued tickets that are meaningless with the exception of one thing. We have a limitation on the number of seats that we can occupy per fire code, and the Legion is very strict about that. Therefore, those tickets were given out to ensure we know how many are going to participate. Now, a sheet was set out on each desk today as well that we had asked you to sign up on, so we can confirm. We have very few, if any, tickets remaining. Is that correct, Kelly? Very few, if any. If we have anyone who, for whatever reason, is unable to attend, we will have, I'm sure, a couple of three folks that are unable to make it, even though they have tickets. And as a result, we expect that there are probably going to be some people at the door that did not acquire tickets, and one way or another, we're going to do our damnedest to seat them, okay? But that's after everyone who has the ticket is here. Regarding our custom printed Red Friday shirts, they're here. Those, how many total? 76 have been printed based on orders over the past couple of weeks, and Kelly and team will be distributing those shirts where? Second table from the door after the meeting, so if you ordered shirts, you can pick them up following dismissal. Also, if you wish to order shirts, we have some order forms. Please complete those and turn those in to Barry right over here following the meeting. And we have some blank forms. Or turn it in at the front table. Barry would like to get those so that he can cut off the receipt for them.
No, the blank ones are at the front table.
There are? Okay, if you will bring those to him, I would appreciate it. Also, I do have an announcement that I would like to make. There is a program that some of you vets may be interested in, and thanks to a generous grant support, the Mesa Arts Center has launched a program called Arts in Service, which provides creative pathways for veterans and service members to use studio art experience in reaching their personal goals, whether those are stress relief, working toward overall health and wellness, or pursuing career interest in art making. The requirements to attend Arts in Service are simply that you are a veteran or a service member of the United States Armed Forces. New students are welcome. Most Arts in Service classes do not require prior art experience. You can register online, you can register over the phone or in person for the Arts in Service program, and you will be asked to verify your service via email upon registering. 3 semesters each calendar year. You have winter, spring, summer, and fall. New students can send in their driver's license or DD-214 to verify service, and they do not keep that information on hand once it has been verified. Now, some arts and service classes are rated intermediate and advanced and are intended for arts and service students who have mastered foundational techniques and skills and are ready for more complex projects. Fred Hammond, raise your hand back there. Fred just enrolled in this program as a Navy retiree, and he highly recommends that if you have any interest in pursuing this, go for it. Also, one other thing, and that is that Larry May has some puzzle gifts for those of you that may be having get-togethers with family, kids, grandkids over the holidays. He will have those available at the exit, so if you wish to pick one of those up, cut it out. It's a nice little time pleaser for the grandkids especially. Thank you, Larry, for doing that. To our guests, thank you for joining us today. We sincerely hope that you'll return to share in our camaraderie and support our mission. Please know that you will always be welcome at our Red Friday assemblies. And as a final reminder, let us not overlook the importance of our Red Friday mission to keep our deployed warfighters in our thoughts, our prayers, and continue to demonstrate our support for these fine men and women. Master Gunn, thank you very, very much for coming and joining us today and giving us a brief insight into the history of the United States Marine Corps. Come back anytime. Have a great weekend.